Hello everyone, on this video I'm going to show you how you do the highest common factor. I'm going to explain some few words. Highest, it means it should be the biggest number. Common, it's the same. So they're going to ask you on 2 or 3 numbers. Factor. A factor is the number that we multiply and get that number. So here they've given us 225 and 315. There are actually 2 ways that you can find the highest common factor. I'm going to show you both ways. 225 and 315. So you need to find factors of 225, write all of them, and find factors of 315, write all of them, and see which one is the highest out of the 2. Let's do that. We're going to do factors of 225 first. 225. Then we're going to write the factors here. Now, how do you do that? When you're using your calculator, a factor is a number that you multiply to get that number. So all of the factors, all numbers have itself and 1. So it's 1 times 225. So 1 and 225 are factors of 225. And then you take your calculator, you divide by 2. But you can see this is an odd number. When you divide an even number with an odd number, it would not be divisible. It's gonna make a remainder. I don't have to divide by that. Then I divide by 3. You take your calculator, you say 225 divided by 3, and then you see it says it's 3 times 75. When you get a decimal, it means it's not a factor. When you get a whole number like this one, it's a factor. And then we want to 4. 4, it's even, and this one is odd. Obviously, it won't be divisible. Then we do 5. You say 225 divided by 5. Then you say you get that 5 times 45. 5 times 45 will give you 225. We want to 6. Let's try 7. 225 divided by 7. It gives you it's 32.1. Once it's a point something, it's not a factor. 6. We tried 8, won't be. Let's try 9. 225 divided by 9. 9 times 25. 9 times 25 will give you 225. And then 10 won't be a factor. 11 won't be a factor. But you can try them. You can try them and see until you are satisfied. Let's try 15. 225 divided by 15. Oh yes, it's a factor. 15 times 15 is 225. Then 16 won't work, 17 won't work. And then I think these are all factors of 225. It's 1, 3, 5, 9, 15, 25, 45, 75, and 225. When you write factors, you can write in ascending order from the smallest to the biggest, and you don't repeat a factor. You see this one is 15 times 15. So when you write factors, you will not write 15 twice. Let's write them out. Right now, we're going to do factors of 315. The first one is 1 times 315. 2 won't be a factor. Let's try 3. 315 divided by 3. Yeah, it's a factor. 3 times 103. 4 won't be a factor. Let's try 5. 315 divided by 5. It's a factor. It's 5 times 63. And then 6 won't be a factor. Let's try 7. 315 divided by 7 is 7 times 45. 8 won't be a factor. Let's try 9. 315 divided by 9 is 9 times 35. 9 times 35. 9. 10 won't be a factor. Let's try 11. 315 divided by 11. It gives you a decimal. It's not a factor. 11. 12 won't be a factor. Let's try 13. 315 divided by 13. It's not a factor. 14 won't be a factor. Let's try 15. 315 divided by 15. Oh, it's a factor. 15 times 21. And then 16 won't be a factor. 17 won't be a factor. Let's try 17. 315 divided by 17. It's not a factor. 18 won't be a factor. Let's try 19. 315 divided by 19. It's not a factor. 20 won't be a factor. And then we are at 21. So it means these are all the factors of 21. Do you see why sometimes I don't even try them? If you are dividing an even number with an odd number, it will not be a factor. That's why when I say 315 divided by 8, I automatically say it won't be a factor. Because the last number, it's odd and 8 is even. So that's why I don't even try them. So these are the factors of 315. Then you write them out. This you write in your scribbler. The teacher doesn't want to see that. The teacher wants to see only the factors. And then when you've written them like that, you can write them in an order. You say 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, then 15, 21, 35, 45, 63, 105, 103, and 105. Those will be all your factors. Right, the factors of 315 is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 15, 21, 35, 45, 63, 103, and 315. Now, the question says, find the highest common factor of 225 and 300. So, the highest common factor is equals to, they both have 1, but it's not the highest. They both have 3. It's common, not the highest. 5 is common, not the highest. They have 9, common, not the highest. 15, common, not the highest. The highest common factor is 45. They both have 45. 45, 45. After 45, there's nothing common. So the highest common factor, your answer is 45. Your highest common factor is one number. It is a factor of both of them and is the highest on both of them. And it should be common. It should be the same on both of them. This is the one method of calculating highest common factor. Let me show you the other method. Right, with the alternative method, we are using prime numbers. Prime numbers are numbers that have 2 factors, itself and 1. You have to memorize these numbers. You're going to use them until you get to metric. So 1 is not a prime number. It's 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 is not a prime number, 11, 13. Usually we use up to here. If you need more, we'll add more. Right, so you divide these numbers using prime factors. I'm going to divide 225 using prime factors. So I do it like this. You write 225. This, they call it a ladder method. So you write the number that you divide here, and then you write the prime number that you think it will divide here. Also use your calculator. 2 definitely won't divide because the last digit here is odd and 2 is even. So let's try 3. So we say 225 divided by 3. And you get a number that is exactly divisible. So 225 divided by 3 gives me 75, right? And then let's try 75 divided by 3 and see if it's divisible. Oh yes, it's still divisible. 75 divided by 3 gives me 25. Now 3 is not a factor of 25. So the next prime number here is 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. And then 5 divided by 5 is 1. That's how you know you have decomposed that to prime numbers. These prime numbers, 3 times 3 times 5 times 5 will give you 225. This is what you do first. Then you have to do for the other number. The other number was 315. So 315, same thing. Prime numbers, 2 will not divide there. Let's try 3. 315 divided by 3. Yes, it's a factor. 315 divided by it's 105. 105 divided by 3, it's also 35. So 105 divided by 3, it's 35. And then 35 divided 3 won't divide because this is not divisible by 3. So the next prime number is 5. 35 divided by 3. 35 divided by 3. 35 divided by 5. It's 7. And then it's 7 divided by 7, it's 1. So let me explain this again. How do you do that? You find your number that you want to find factors for, 315. You find a prime number that will be divisible here, 3. Sometimes some learners will start with 5. It will work out the same way. You say 3. You say 315 divided by 3. You write your answer here. You take that answer, you divide by 3. You write the answer here. 35 divided by 5, it's 7. 7 divided by 7, it's 1. Right? These are the prime factors of 315. These are the prime factors of 225. You remember with the other example, we had 105 big numbers. Here you are only dividing with prime factors. So you're going to say 225 is equals to 3 times 3 times 5 times 5. The prime factors. Test them. 3 times 3 times 5 times 5. You expect your answer to be 225. It's correct. Then you do the second one. 315. Now, when you do this one, you don't just write it like you've written this one. You write common ones underneath the common one. 3, you're going to write the 3 here. Times, I have another 3, I'm going to write it here. Then I have a 5, I'm going to write it under 5. Then I have a 7, but here I have a 5. I don't write it there. I write a 7 there. Then you underline. Then your highest common factor. Your highest common factor, you take one common. It has to be common. One of them where they are common. So it's 3 times 3 times 5. My highest factor is 3 times 3 times 5, which is 45. So my highest common factor, if I'm using prime numbers, I'm factorizing with prime numbers, I'm going to get 45. You remember with the other method, the alternative method, when you find the factors, all the factors, the answer was 45. So whichever method you like to use, it will work out. Now, which method is best for when? Usually, when you're dealing with big numbers, this looked easier for me than finding factors. But if you're using small numbers, maybe 25 and 16, it will be easier to find the factors. The factors are few. It's easier to find them and find the highest. But if you're dealing maybe with 3,453, it will be harder to go find all the factors for 3,000. So it's easier to use the prime, decomposing with prime numbers. Okay, this is the end of our lesson. Please subscribe and keep on watching our videos.